Hey, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and today I'm getting back on building my Voron 2.4 R2 Pro Plus. So let's go ahead and get started. So in my last video, I finished doing the A and B belts, and I did install the base for the tool head. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and build the Stealthburner. So I'm going to do a couple changes from the manual. I'm installing the Nomi 2 from Big Tree Tech, which they sent me. I'm also installing an EBB board. I believe I'm doing the RP 2040, and I'll confirm that when I start putting it together. Off camera, I went ahead and did all the threaded inserts or heated inserts, so they're all done. And I did print out a new base or a new cover that'll fit the Nomi. And somewhere here I have the back plate for that, and I have to find that. So I have all the parts, and we're just going to work our way through the manual and get all this together. So let me arrange my screen, and then we'll get to work. So as you can see, I have a whole bunch of parts in front of me, and I know I'm still missing some stuff, so we're going to have to go through bags here to find it. One of the things I'm not seeing is the lights, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's just go through what we have, and let me get the directions showing up on screen so we can follow on. I'm going to start with this first step. I have these two pieces together. Now if I look at this, I need to go in. Let me figure out how this needs to be oriented. So I need to go in through this side, and that's going to hit this threaded insert. So let me get my screws. Here they are. So we're looking for an M316. And we still have, as you can see, I have a huge amount of screws left. So we still have a lot put together. So I'm going to pause this a second so I can go through this bag and see if I can, or this box, and see if I can find the correct screws. Now it sort of figures that these were all the way at the bottom. So I have my M316s. So let's get out one of these. I'm going to put these aside. I won't put them up right away. I will seal the bag and this in here. Make my driver. So I'm just going to put this in. I'm going to try to make sure I keep everything on the screen. And I'll probably cut some of this video down a little bit. So I might skip around a little bit just to, nobody really wants to see me screwing screws in. So looks like that's in, so let's put that aside. I'm also going to move the directions, I think, up to this top corner. I think that's a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is let's put the assembly together. Now, this is the little pack that came with the kit. So I'm going to carefully open this up. There's a sticker here. Let me take that off so nothing gets stuck to it. And it looks like I need this little metal piece here. Oops, not that metal piece. This metal piece. One of the things I'm seeing is I don't see exactly how this goes. Now it looks like I'm sort of missing a piece here. So let me look and see if I can find this little piece here. So I'm looking at this right here. I'm just not seeing it. So let me look around through my parts and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have a slight deviation here from the directions. I'm not going to use a little piece like this. What I have is two bearings, really small, and those fit in here. So I'm using those bearings, and I'm just going to put this through. Now I have my pieces here, so I'm going to orient this like this. And this just fits right in here, so it's going to snap in. Well, I say it's going to snap in. There we go. So it snapped in. Bigger gear is to the right. It's spinning. I'm just going to push this through a little bit. Make sure that's flush. So that looks good. Let's keep going to the next step. Now, let's see. So I'm going to orient this. I'll take this piece, slip the spring on, and then I have a nylon washer, so that'll go like that. And I need a little arm piece. There it is. So I have the little arm piece. This is going to slip up here, and there's a little groove for this to fit in. And I'm going to screw this in. I'm just screwing it in. And that looks good, that everything's seated right. So let's keep going. Now, looking at this, the bearings are already on here, so that's good. So I want this piece, and I'm going to fit the bearing in this hole. So fits in, and everything's spinning. Now the other side should go in here. Should go something like this. First, before I do that, I have this small little flathead M36 that's for tension. So I need to get that in here. And we also want a little thread locker on that too. So let me pause, let me find that screw, and then we'll come right. So I put a tiny bit of thread locker right here. I'm just going to dip my, well, go drop my whole screw in it. And that's going to go up in here. And I'm just noticing that I forgot to put a threaded insert in here. So we're going to have to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the insert in here now. I'm just going to take my screw, dip it in the thread locker, then screw this in, and this is much better. So I have that screwed in. So that's in. I'm going to put the thread locker aside just in case I need it. It's always a mess for me. Let's get out to the next step. Looking at this, this is all locked in. Now this is a slightly different gear than what's described in the directions, so I'm not going to worry about this. I clicked it in. If we look down here, I can see in the path, it's all lined up. And again, what's really good about this is it's already set up, so I don't have to worry about snapping this together. Now, I have the gear here, or I'm sorry, bearing here. I went totally blank on what that was called. I'm literally just snapping these halves together. So that appears to snap well. This turns, checking the inside. Everything appears in here to be lining up. So again, we'll just keep going to the next step. Now I need M325s to screw these halves together. So I'll find those and then put it together. So I have my two M325s. I'm going into this hole here. I don't want to over tighten these. Then this hole down here. So I'm just tightening them in. I want to make sure everything's still spinning. Nothing feels too tight. Looking down through here, the filament path looks correct. And I put these together before, so I'm not terribly concerned with doing this right. Now I'm just going to take a piece of filament I have here, and I'll run this down through here just to make sure that everything's lined up. And it is. As you can see, the red filament's lined up correctly. I'll put my filament back in the trash can. Now this, I think, is just a little bit harder at this step, getting this in correctly. I'm holding it like this. Let's put the filament back in. And I'm gonna hold the filament and let's cut it down. So I'm cutting the filament down a little bit. So I have that in. Throw away the excess. Now I'm slipping this in. And see if I can figure out how this needs to go. I think I need to loosen this some. So I'm loosening that a little bit. And let's see if I can figure out which hole this needs to be lined up with. So I think it needs to be lined up like that. So this hole right here. So I'm just looking at this a little bit more carefully. Yeah, that looks good. So let's get our M3 25s. And we definitely don't want to over tighten this either. So we're going to put this in. We'll have to tighten some screws up probably here. I actually want to make sure this moves freely. And it is. Yeah, I'll give it another little twist here. I think I need this flush. Yeah, it's moving freely. So let's give that a little twist. Yeah, that feels good. So we have that piece in. And now keep going. Now I broke this one piece and I went ahead and reprinted it in PETG. What I'm noticing is this piece is really thin here. If I lay these over top of each other, you'll notice the other piece here is much thicker. Let me see if I can raise this up. So you can see the bottom piece is much thicker. Now, the question is, will this actually work? Right now, nothing I'm doing appears to line up. Okay, now what I've had to do is I've actually used some old Stealthburner parts I had laying around. I'm going to use that instead of what came with the kit. I'm having a lot of problems with the fit here, and things just don't seem to be right. Now, it very well could be me, which that has happened before, but I'm just going to use these old parts because at least I can get things to fit together. Now, something else I don't like, and this all comes down to the printed parts here for the kit. And one of the reasons why I'm wondering if these are maybe a slightly older version of the Stealthburner with Clockwork Mod 2. I'm not really sure, but I'm noticing on the part that broke here, you'll notice how thin it is in here. So it's very thin. If I look at the part I just printed, it's significantly thicker. And I mean, that's not going to break, or if it breaks, it's not going to break easy. Or again, that's so much thinner here. So I'm just really not sure what the problem is per se. Like I said, I think it's possible there might have been some type of redesign or something else because it's just not fitting right. Now, that actually is fitting really well now. That's a slightly different color there. But I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, at this point, I'm sitting here killing myself trying to get this to work. Now, with that being said, I think that's okay. So let's go down to the next steps and see where we can go from here. So I'm starting to put in the motor, and I'm going to hold this like this, and it looks like I need to go down into this hole here. So I'm thinking it's that hole. Oh, wait, look at this. Ah, no, it's this hole right here. This hole. So that says don't tighten. So I'm just going to put it, just get it started into the motor hole. So we have it started. And let's keep going to the next step. So basically I want to get these gears to mesh. So let's see. Okay, now what I'm doing is looking down through here. And I can see the gears are meshing. It looks like, so I need to get, I skipped a step. So let's get an M330. So I found my M330, and I'm just going to go in here. And I, again, don't want to tighten anything because I'm trying to get this motor in. So it started there, and I can still, as you can see, move the motor around because I haven't tightened this screw. I'm going to open this up. And what I want to try to do is mesh the motor with the gear. In my case, the gear is red. Let's look in here. So it looks like we're spinning. So it's, now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this one right here. Yeah. I'm going to open this back up, and I want to make sure that this is meshing. And it feels correct. So let's make sure this one's tight. I think that's good. So now let's keep going down. So I've gone ahead and screwed in the wire guide. Now I'm going to point out the wire guide is slightly different, the one that came with the kit. Now I'm looking at my old Stealthburner that had the same wire guide, so I'm thinking that's all right. Now I'm looking for an M3.8 to put back here to finish that off. So let me find the screws. Guess I'm just getting the screw in the back here. There we go. So that looks good. And then we're just going to keep rolling down here. Now we need an M316 for the hatch. The M316 is going through this hole here. I believe that's this screw. What we'll do is we'll make sure I have the right screw, and then we'll, so here's the M316s. Maybe this is an M316. And it is. So I'm just going to stick this through here. Just need to line the holes up. I got my M316, that's sort of correct. And I'm just going to push this right in here. Now, if I remember correctly, this is screwing into plastic, so I don't want to go too nuts tightening this. So I'm just putting it in here. Now I'm sighing because this isn't going as easily as I had hoped. I put one of these together twice, I believe now, and each time I find them just as hard. And this isn't the designer's fault, this is me. I can feel this biting into the plastic, so that's good. I got to keep going here. I don't want to over tighten, but I do need to get it where that screw is at least flush with the inside here, because I don't want it to get in the way of the latch. So that looks correct. Now I need an M36 button head for that down there. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I can put that in towards the end. So next I'm going to begin work on the duct. And I need to put a couple heated inserts in here. And those go up here and on the side. So let me heat things up and I'll get those installed. And then we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, I got the threaded inserts installed. Let it cool a little bit. Now, this printer comes with, where is it? The E36 extruder. I don't particularly like this extruder, so what I'm going to do is I actually have, and this is the same form factor, I believe this is a sailfish, and this should be high flow. So I'm going to try installing this. Now I'm hoping I have enough slack here for this to go, and we'll see. If I don't, I'm just going to go back to the default Hotend, and we'll see how this goes. So I'm just going to install it like this. I'm going to take that part out. This should go something like this. Strain relief, it comes around like that. And we now have the front cover needs to go on. And the part was right in the front. Push this in. I want to make sure none of the cords are caught. That looks correct there. I want to check something. Looks okay. Tentatively, this all looks the same size, so I feel good about this. Now I need my M316s, and those are actually going right up here. Oops. So these will go in here and hold this together. So I'm just going to tighten those in, and I want to make sure that my hot end is not moving. So I'm tightening these, but I'm not going crazy either. Now I'm a little nervous because, again, parts already haven't fit, so we'll sort of need to see how these go. Now, these don't have top molting. And now we're going to need to find the PTFE tube, and that needs to stick out 11 millimeters. So let me see if I can find that bit, and we'll put that in. So I found the lights. Why don't I do this first? So we're going to do the logo LED. So that's going to go this like this. Now, if I mess this up, I actually have spares for this, so like that. Now the diffuser needs to go like this. So I have that together. Now, I think I need to see if I can figure out how this goes. So I think this goes like this. So I'm just slipping this in. It's a little tight. Now this one needs to come over. I'll need to push these wires into this crevice here. So I'm just pushing them in. And push this light in here. Now, one of the ways I've messed this up in the past is by not pushing the wires into these various crevices. And then when I put things together, I accidentally cut the wires. This is one of those things where I don't need any of that happening today because I want this done. Now, I have those in. So now I'm going to slide the diffuser in here. So I have the diffuser in. And then I believe I just need to slip this in. Oh, and I can already see that this isn't laying flat. So let's see. I'm going to use needle nose pliers here to see if I can push these corners down. Yeah. So you can see it's sitting much more flush now. And then I think this is just going to slip in. And this again is going around. These wires are going underneath here. They're going underneath. And then let's see if we can get these wires down in here. So again, don't want to cut wires. I'm just using my fingernails to sort of push these down in here. That may be all right there. Let me see if I can get this down in here a little bit better. There we go. There's one. See if we can use these. There's two. I'm just getting these down here. There we go. So that's underneath there. Now this looks like it needs to go up here. This way. And let's go around here. Now, I could tell you it needs to go around here simply because I think when I cut this last time, I didn't put this down this crack here. So you can see this path. I need to go down there. And that probably is all right for right now. So let's see what else we got. Now we need to insert the fan. And this should be, I think, a 40-40 fan, 20-40, something like that. Okay, so I'm inserting the fan this way. So I have the fan in. I'm going up and around the same way I went for the lighting wires. So now I have both those like that. You can see the wires are through that, through down here. So that should be all right. Lower fan. And I need to actually clip off these parts here. So let's get these. And the easiest thing to do right now is clip these little clips off. I'm not sure I have enough of this off, but we're going to stick with that for right now. And then keep moving down. Now, I actually think at this point, I need to pause and take a look at the Nomi to get that installed. So let me pause and switch over to that set of instructions. So I'm going to install the Nomi 2 that was sent to me by Big Tree Tech for free. Now I'm just going to give my honest opinion of this. I've messed with these before. I like it. Let's see, this was manufactured back in May of this year. Really, it's pretty simple. There's a couple wires. And one of the things I have to be very gentle with is those wires and the connectivity. I can tell you from past experience that it's real easy to mess all this up. So what I'm going to do is let's unpack everything. Now I'm going to point out that I've gone on the Nomi website and I printed a new cover for my Stealthburner, which I mentioned previously. And then I have the mounting ring. And these are both for the Nomi 2. Now, if I compare the look of these, here is the original base for a Stealthburner, you see the hole smaller. This one, the hole's bigger for the Nomi. Now, first thing we need to do, since I've already done the printing, is we're just going to scroll down here and we need to do the wiring. Now, as I mentioned, we got two little sets of wires here. These are a little bit confusing, so I'm going to show you. We have to look down here, and let me see if I can spot it. I'm going to move these wires over. There's actually, if you look real closely down there, a hole these need to go through. And so let's figure out where this needs to be. And then I'll slip everything through. I'm just moving my wires out of the way. And I'm going to go up through here. Now, it might be a little easier if I remove the fan. Oops, don't want to drop the fan. And you can see down here in this corner, there's a little hole right down in here. And so this is right down in here. And we're going to start off with the Wi-Fi wire. So I'm just going to go up through this hole. I'm just going to pull that through the hole. So it's right through there. And then we're going to do the same for the power cord. The connector doesn't seem to want to go through. So what I'm going to try to do is put each one of these through individually. I just need to move the wires around. There we go. So we have that. Now, what we need to do is let's move things back around. I'm going to move these wires over, and I need to reinsert the fan. So we need to get the fan back in here. Now, making sure that these wires go above the fan. There we go. Let's make sure all those are arranged. Let's insert the fan again. We need to be very, very careful. There we go. So we sort of have this in. I don't want to say this is perfect. It's probably as good as it's going to get for right now. So I'm just going to lay that down and let's go to the next step. So we're going to take the Nomi out of the bag. So it should be oriented something like this. And we're going to take this set of wires and just plug that in. So that's plugged in. Then we want to pull the antenna wire through. And that needs to be snapped on right over here. So it just snaps in. Okay, so I have that snapped in. I'm going to very gently pull these wires out. So make sure I'm not pinching the wires. Oh, there we go. So maybe just looking at it from this side helped. Now I'm not stepping on any of the wires, so that's really good. I'm trying to figure out how this piece goes in. So I just need to move it around and it finally snapped in. So the wire's hanging out a little bit, but that's okay. Now I think I just need to put the fan in. So the fans would be oriented something like this. And I'm going to need to cut these off a little bit more. So let me fix the edges here and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the sticker down here now. You can see that. And let me just keep going down to the next steps. Now I need to put in the board. So this is the EBB cam board. So let's get that. And let me find where that's at. That's somewhere here. It's my old one. So right now, the Nomi's installed, at least the hardware is installed. It's not so configured yet. for the software, but we'll do that momentarily. Okay. So we have these now. So this is going to be, this board is going to be something like this. It's going to fit somewhere in like this. Now I'm just screwing the board in. Now this is going into the plastic, so I don't want to buckle this down too tight. And I'm also a little worried I'm going to have to reroute some wires, simply because it just doesn't seem like I have enough slack here for some of these, particularly the whites. And we have that done, and we're getting some slack here, routing this around here, and slipping this on here, taking the red wire and routing it through wire guides here. And that's going right here to this 5-volt. So now that should power my Nomi. Put this aside now and then go back to our regular directions. Okay, so I've switched over to the EBB 2209 CAN board, and this is the RP 2040. So I've switched over this so I can, now I've done this step here. So now I want the fan here, and that's going to, this is the blower fan. Whoops. It's gonna fit right down here. There we go. So we have that. We're going to pull out the board, and we need, it's 24 volt. So we need to put a jumper here on the end. So let's go back here. Let's dump all this out because these are the world's smallest jumpers. You can see that tiny little jumper. Now I'm going to try to do this. Huh. So that slipped right on. So the jumpers all the way to the right down here are the, let's see if we can get up here. That's the 24 volt. So we have that. I'm going to put this back in the static bag so I can put it aside. Because the rate I'm going, I'm probably going to have to break this video up. Okay, so I have that done. Now I need the other fan. That's this one right here. That's going to go right here. So this is the hot end fan. There we go. Now that's still showing up as it's 24 volt. Now I'm not doing this other fan, so I don't need to worry about that. Move this aside. The whites here need to go on these last pins here. What I'm going to try to do is reroute these. I don't have enough slack here, so I just want to pull these down, move them around. So let's see if, yeah, it gives me a little bit more slack. Well, I want the red is up towards the top. So these are going here. Pull the wires out from underneath of it. There we go. Is mount this board. Now I'm going to pause here and I'll split this into a different video because this is getting to be pretty massive. So let me pause for the day. And I want to thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. And again, I apologize for splitting this. It's just, it's getting to be a little too much on me. But anyway, thanks. Have a good day. Bye. Hi, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. If you need some additional help, I've also posted some links in the video description. you can set up a 15-minute help session with me, and I'm more than happy to sit down with you and see if I can help you out. If you need some additional help, I'm also going to try doing 1-hour sessions for anybody that's interested. And like I said, I'm testing this stuff out. I want to thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you again next time. Thanks. Have a good day.